right. What's going on, folks? So, at this point, we are picking up from where we left off on the Prime Crime, Law and Crime Network's documentary that they did on the Madeline Soto case. Um, we're picking up from where we left off. Melanie. This is my, I don't know, attempt at starting a reaction channel and seeing where it goes. If you or if this lands on your algorithm for whatever reason, it finds it there, you see it, and you end up watching some of it, hit that like, leave me a comment of encouragement. Let me know what you guys think if you stayed and watched, or how long um, you stayed until my voice got annoying. How about that? We could do that. Or if I'm doing good, let me know. If I'm doing bad, let me know. But we're going to pick up from where we left off.
No way out. The content on Stern's phone and other hard drives that were found in his storage unit, that dates back years. Police even find these lewd drawings in Madeline's school notebook.
Thanks to Stefan Stearns' father, law enforcement were alerted to that hard drive. And it wasn't just images of Madeline, but also images of Jennifer's roommate. People lie, but photos generally don't. And when you can recover 35,000 images, it shows motive, but it also is a separate crime in itself. 35,000 images, it'll get you locked up for life. And sexual abuse of a child, as was found on that hard drive, that could get you the death penalty in Florida. This guy.
It can get you the death penalty in Florida, but people don't be getting it. They like plead out before they even get there. But yeah, so at this point, homeboy is caught. Okay, he didn't ask for his lawyer, lawyered up. Um, so he ended up trying to get back to Southport where his parents are. And then he got there, tried to get the hard drive and clear everything up. But then I don't think he realized that they were watching them. Like, I think somewhere they said that they put a tracker on Jen's car and he hauled ass. Like, they went and got a hotel. And then his dad came up, which the only reason why I think he had the dad come up is so he can get to the house, get what he had to get without any questions. That's the only reason I think he had his dad there. I personally believe his mom lied about not seeing him there or him not being there. And there's video of the mom's reaction when the police get to her house because they're trying to look for Stefan real quick. Um, and it was weird. Like, the mom's odd. She, like, I guess she found one of like Stefan's adult toys and she was trying to pretend like she didn't know it was there. She knew that was there. She cleaned that room up a bunch of times before. You've been in there before. She was like fake hyperventilating, and in my opinion, she was fake hyperventilating and did not look sincere to me, in my opinion. Um, yeah, so and then there's like video or interviews that Chris Chris Stearns and Deborah Stearns, Stefan's mom, that they did with the police. I've never not liked an old lady in my life. It's just she didn't make herself available as a woman that Maddie could go to talk about it. Like the way she almost blamed Maddie in the way she was talking to the police. Like she was just like, yeah, the way they doted on him and hung all over him and um I know she's 13, but I think she was complicit. Like she said that to the police. The police officer like paused. Like I don't know what you're talking about, but it was clear that if she wanted to do an outcry and tell somebody, there was nobody that she could talk to. Yeah, let's try to get through the rest of this.
Clearly needed to be stopped.
I don't think anybody saw this case taking that kind of turn. And so now police want to speak to Jennifer again.
I was woken up at some time. For the longest time, I've been saying he woke.
And I skipped ahead a little bit on this, and it feels like, I don't know if it's just because I watched this through other YouTubers, and I still believe Jen Soto knew more about what was going on than she let on, and let more stuff happen that didn't need to happen. I feel like it was kind of a, as long as it's not in my face, I'm not gonna say anything kind of thing. In one of these interviews, I don't know if they'll get to it. We'll see if they get to it. But in one of these interviews, she made a comment. First thing, when they first interviewed her, she made it seem like that Maddie only slept upstairs with him one time, and it was that night so she could get some sleep, and he could bring her to school. But the police already know that there's a video of him doing stuff to her multiple times a day, almost 3 to 4 times a week or something. Like, it was almost like a everyday thing when they went back through the videos, and the videos and stuff went back years. So like they have proof from when video proof from when Madeline was 8 years old. One of the YouTubers I listen to, True Crime with Strategic Eyes, he's a detective that does like sex crimes and stuff, and he said before Stefan can get to doing actual videos, he would have had to groom her to get her complicit with making them. So he thinks the grooming process and some of the abuse started back when Madeline was about 6. So she was going through that for that whole time. And this interview right here, they are talking to Jen after they showed her videos of him abusing her daughter. Or pictures, rather. They showed her a picture from the descriptions that I've seen of just like oral. Like, they showed pictures of. I wouldn't have been sitting there calm. I'm telling you that right now. There's no way I'm sitting there calm. And that man is in that building. And I know he's in that building. They show her the video. Or the picture, I'm sorry. And then after they show her the picture, and this is the night before, after they show her the picture, she calls Stefan's dad and said they have to get him a lawyer. I think they're trying to pin this on him. So she faked like she was shocked and didn't understand what was going on, but had enough wherewithal to be like, you got to get him a lawyer, tell him to lawyer up.
Up at 8 o'clock in the morning, but in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. He told me he was going to go out cruising that night to go look for her. I even questioned that.
There's that part too. So remember, they went to the hotel after they turned the house into a crime scene. And then he left the hotel saying that he was going to go look for her. And then while he was saying he was going to go cruise and look for her, he drove all the way to Southport where the parents live, or Northport, one of the ports, which is like 4 hours from where they live. And he drove all the way there and back by morning. And I think he was trying to get either one of the hard drives or just take care of some stuff before he knew he was either going to go to jail, off himself, whatever. He just take care of some of his business, I guess. I don't know. So, okay. She pretends like she gets up in the morning, he's not there. And she's like, is Stefan with you to the dad? And then the dad's like, no, I left him with you. He got up at 3 in the morning, left, and got back to them by like 11, I think, 10-ish, I think, because then the police came and got them and took them in. And she pretended like she had no idea that he left. Like he said, oh, I went to, what was it called? Wawa's. He said, yeah, I went to Wawa's and got a drink and got lost and didn't really know where I was. It was a lie. He knew exactly where he was. But she lied and pretended like she didn't know. I know she knew where he went. Like she knew. Or I don't know. It seems like she lied to me.
Asked him, are you sure it's a good idea? You should probably sit tight. Eventually, reporters come to the house and do an interview. And he ugly cried in front of the camera, too. So he was fake sob crying. At the time, I thought he was truly heartbroken and not that he had done all this to her. Like, I look back at now, I'm just like, he was lying. He was faking. What else has he been lying to me about?
Jennifer says, man, looking back now, I noticed all of these things that did seem to be off with Stefan.
No, she only said that like she only said that to cover. Up until that point, she was like, he would never, or I wish I knew, or I wish I saw. Like there were no signs that any of this was going on. Like when I think they're chopping up this interview between other interviews. No. There was only this one video of her in this room doing the interview, but it feels like they're chopping it up because she was talking with these detectives, and then these detectives show her everything, and then she comes out, and then other detectives come in and take over, and then she starts the whole process over again. But you gotta watch it because the way they're making it seem now is that she was confused and she didn't know what was going on. And I guess because she wasn't convicted of anything, they have to like, they can't be accusatory because she was never charged or convicted with anything. So I guess now if you say something and you don't throw that alleged or that, in my opinion, in front of it, you could get hit with like maybe defamation or something. I don't know why the tone of her interview is changing to her being confused and not knowing what to do. She picked a side, like immediately picked a side. Like they're editing out all the like maybe they're not, maybe they'll show it. Hold on, we'll just keep going.
Detective Hunt came, or somebody came, and asked Stefan for his cell phone. He started getting very anxious and very panicky, going, I want my phone back. I want my phone back. And I'm just like, are you trying to make yourself more suspicious? At one point, he takes my phone. I think from my phone, he was trying to log into his emails. I started saying to him, like, I think they're focusing in on you. Like, we need to call your dad, and I think we need to get you a lawyer. I feel like they're focusing on the wrong person. And he kept saying the same thing.
You offering him a lawyer is very weird.
I know.
The main thing is that she was in constant denial. The fact that she was duped.
What is the location of your emergency?
We have a missing child.
Okay. Shops. Emails.
Fuck.
And each time he got a little closer and
Images, it'll get you locked up for life. And sexual abuse.
Now I'm just like, he was lying. He was faking. What else has he been lying to me about?
Jennifer says, man, looking back now, I noticed all of these things that did seem to be off with Stefan.
I think Detective Hunt came, or somebody came, and asked. I feel like they're focusing on the wrong person. And he kept saying the same thing.
You offering him a lawyer is very.
Do you see how stiff her hands are? Like her hands are like, she's not moving. Like, at first time I watched this, I thought, why is she so comfortable in that chair? Like, how is she able to sit there all big and comfy like that? But look how she does this thing with her hands. I don't know. If you go back and watch it, you'll see it, and you'll be like, Mel, you fucking stupid.
Weird.
I know.
The main thing is that she was in constant denial. The fact that she was duped shocked her. So what we saw in her was the shaking and the trembling, the white face, the wide eyes. All of these responses, physiological responses, seemed off. She was replaying things in her subconscious mind that can't.
That's because that's because she was always down lying with him. Like, he would steal from their mom and lie to other people, and I think she knew when he was lying to other people and didn't think he would ever lie to her. Um like, they're the couple that when everything's going wrong, they blame their mental illness, right? Like, they fuck up and don't do something that they're supposed to do. Oh, my such and such is acting up and I can't remember, and like, it's always their excuse to not. And I think they did that together. And I think there's a part in one of her, I think it was in that interview, where he lies and says that his parents are invalid and sick, and I had to go back home. I moved back home to help take care of my parents because they're doing end of life preparations and they needed me to take care of them. Like, he lied and said that. They go and talk to the parents and find out that the parents are fine. Like, they're not in end of life situations. They're not sick. They're not anything. Matter of fact, they both like losing weight together at this point right here, right? So when the police ask her about his parents, um, she first starts out with oh, they're fine or whatever. They just live over here. And then when the cop goes, oh, well, Stefan said that they're sick and getting ready for end of life preparations. And then she goes, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're just sickly and she's overweight and she's doing all of this and she's going through all of this. Like, if he lied, she backed up his lie. So there was never a point in this to me where they weren't on the same page. Like, I've seen people that butt heads all the time in front of each other as a couple. Like, all they do is argue. Like, they're the arguing couple. But then if one of them is in an argument with somebody else, instantly they're a team. Like, no matter what, they're one. Okay, they talk the same. That's what Stefan and her remind me of, right? When she was down with him all the way up until the point where it was like, I can't lie with him no more. Like, it's once the videos popped up or the images popped up and they were like, yo, there's hundreds of videos, there's hundreds of images, it clicked. I can't cover him for him no more. But she was still kind of defending him. It's weird. All right, let's see how much more.
Possibly be him.
The living situation with them, I'll be honest, seems weird. It's weird to me.
Originally, the plan was that all three of us were going to sleep in my bed together. It wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her no.
When you guys slept in the same bed together, did you ever wake up and find them cuddling? Did you ever wake up and find them closer than you thought they should be?
They would snuggle, yeah.
Okay.
But we all snuggle.
And you never found that weird?
No.
I think people felt like Jen Soto led her daughter into that situation.
Yeah, and they even asked her, like, well, what are people wearing to sleep, and he would be like in his boxers. Like it wasn't even Stefan, Jen, Maddie. Like Maddie's over here sleeping on the other side of the bed. They slept Stefan, Maddie, Jen. Like they had a kid sandwich. Like it's hard for me to believe she never turned over and woke up and saw something crazy happening. Or saw his hands somewhere that they weren't supposed to be. Why is they snuggling? Like that's what makes it hard to believe. Like so when you go to sleep you just coma, like you out. Like you out that hard when you fall asleep. Like there's no way. There's no way.
By allowing her to sleep with Stefan Stearns. And people wanted to know, aren't you asking questions about that? The daughter has never told you anything about what goes on in that room. And this had been going on for years, since she was like 8 years old.
Let's be very clear.
How could she go to her if we're all sleeping in the same bed? It's okay.
There's only one man responsible.
I can edit this part out. I'll let this play.
But yes, the mother of this child, she's got some culpability here. And I've seen this many times over the years. The mother either doesn't want to believe it or purposefully looks the other way.
Now you know you victimized her for a long time, right? Under your roof. With you home, most likely. I can tell you that today, they're still downloading his Google Drives. We are still going through his social medias, and we can now piece back her victimization in your house under your care to 2020. We're looking at a minimum of 3.5 years. So at a certain point, I do believe you became aware of what was going on.
No.
This has been an ongoing thing. And at her age, I think she probably thought they were in a relationship. She probably
Look how stiff her hands is. Like when she's getting new stuff.
thought they were in love.
Yes, the mother should have known, should have kicked him out of the house and removed the daughter from harm's way. Absolutely. That's a parent's job. But you have to understand the level of manipulation that takes place on the part of these predators. It's a horrifying thing to think about, what this child went through.
If I knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Like, I am willing to take a lie detector test. I was oblivious to this every 4 years.
Minimum. That's just how that far back the cloud goes.
It's so disgusting.
This man has all of these videos on his phone for years. Then you find out he's got child images on other files.
I'm gonna have to edit this.
They had specific videos of Maddie Soto and Stefan Stearns and the things that he was doing to her. The video showed everything that the police needed to know at the time, that something bad was going on inside that house for years.
Because here's the deal, we don't go home until she's found. I believe Stefan killed her. All we can do now is find her as quickly as possible.
I don't want to believe he killed her. I want to believe she's still alive and that she got kidnapped, but that doesn't seem like that's the case at all.
Remember, this community thought there was a little girl who had vanished. Now they realize that she was living in a house of hell.
when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her.
And the community was outraged at that moment, not at Stephen Stearns, at Jen Soto.
Now you have an arrest of the mother's boyfriend, the live-in boyfriend. So of course you're going to look and scrutinize the mother. What did she know? Should she have known? So that's why a lot of people are wondering, why isn't she arrested for something? But you've got to have enough evidence. Prosecutors just can't go on hunches.
Although we have not found Madeline, we are now confident that she is dead. Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead and that Stephen Stearns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day.
Yeah, and the only reason they think that because they have video of him driving around with her, sitting up, like propped up in the car. And then they actually have video of him moving her from the front seat to the trunk of the car.
He stuck to the story that Madeline Soto was asleep in the front seat. That made sense if you're thinking about, what if somebody sees me going in and out and they saw her slumped over? They had video and knew immediately he was driving around with her dead in the front seat of that car.
I want to give you a little behind the scenes tool on something that we use here at Law & Crime that can be very, very useful to you. So we use a service called Truth Finder to look up the people in our stories.
Turning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
What does he do? He goes into a parking garage. There's cameras everywhere around you. They could see him taking this lifeless body and putting it into the trunk, all on camera.
No, not since I've been home. I got home at like I just got home, so I didn't feed him. He was walking around. Are you gonna feed him? I don't know why you saying it like that.
This is when law enforcement really digs in. They collect several items from the apartment for testing, cell phones from anyone and everyone who was in Madeline's inner circle, and they also collect Jennifer and Stephen's cars.
When the canines got a scent of Madeline in Jennifer's car and not Stephen Stearns' car, that does complicate things because it does provide the defense with some sort of way out, where perhaps if they introduce that to a jury, that could be reasonable doubt. And the fact that Madeline's scent was found in her mother's car does not change the focus from Stephen Stearns, but it is something that law enforcement and prosecutors would have to deal with.
We've all heard about the missing child, Madeline Soto. Please, if you think or feel you may have heard or seen something, call, give us a tip.
This guy. Where'd he go? Dang, where'd it go? That guy, I think he ended up getting in trouble because he took pictures of Maddie's body when they found it and posted it to the sheriff's Instagram account. and they were up there for like not long at all, and then got taken down. But the fact that he had pictures on, I don't know if they were on his personal phone. It couldn't have been his personal phone because they got put on the, yeah, like violation after violation of this little girl. And I think he ended up getting in trouble for like fraud or some shit after that. Like he ended up with something. I don't think he's still the sheriff's. I don't think he's still the sheriff.
Have heard or seen something, call. Give us a tip. We need your help.
And breaking news at 6, sources just confirmed to Channel 9 the body of missing 13-year-old Madeline Soto has been found.
There had been a massive search for Madeline, and investigators with the sheriff's office got a tip that a man had been seen matching Stefan's description changing a tire. He had a flat tire. And so they go out there to the area to check it out. They find a tire. They search further, and sadly, they find the remains of Madeline's body.
And it is as awful as we all suspected. Madeline Soto was strangled. Her body was found feet away from a rural road behind some hay and brush beside a fence in Osceola County.
I don't know how long it would have been before we found Madeline Soto's body if that man hadn't called. He knew exactly where Stefan Stearns was when that car had a flat tire.
And on March 1st, we received information placing Stearns' vehicle in a rural area of...
That's so crazy how the universe works, right? Like he had to go there. He had to be driving through there, blow out his tire, have to pull over. Because I don't think he intended on leaving her body there. When they were interviewing Jen, and they're trying to be like, well, where is she? Where do you think you would bring her? Put yourself in his shoes type stuff. She had mentioned that there's a lake by, that's like an alligator farm or something. Like he thought, like she mentioned it like coincidentally she mentioned it, but it was just such a coincidence that that person drove by. He got the body out of the car before the person drove by, but he got the flat. So if he didn't get that flat, no one would have saw him there. So the universe be working.
Cloud, where ultimately Madeline's body was discovered. At this time, Stearns is facing a total of 60 charges related to our investigation.
Police had no problem telling the public what a horrible guy he was. This community felt like this little girl had no ally in her home. They had a huge memorial for a little girl they didn't know. They felt like the protectors of Madeline Soto, even in her death.
So months after Stearns was initially charged with just dozens of crimes related to child sexual abuse and possession of child, the homicide case is presented to a grand jury.
I know the community and the media have been anxious for us to give an update on this case. Stefan Stearns has been indicted by the grand jury on first-degree murder for the killing of Madeline Soto.
So it's just threading all of the pieces together, knitting it all together, which led to only one person, which was Stefan Stearns.
You don't have a man who sleeps with a child and has videos of assaulting her on your phone, and then she goes missing, and you don't know how it ends. You know how it ends.
Yeah.
Now, instead of grouping all of these charges together, the child sexual abuse charges, the homicide charge, prosecutors do something interesting. They decide to actually try these cases separately.
I think the reason why the prosecutors here severed the case was because they saw the child sexual abuse as an easy case to prove, whereas first-degree murder is a little more difficult. Remember, a lot of the case is circumstantial.
The evidence in this case is very strong. But having a good case and having a successful prosecution.
I think it was explained that they separated the case because they can use, if he's found guilty of the images, the case with the sexual abuse case, they can then take that case and use it as a mitigating factor for the murder case, and then use that to go for the death penalty on for that part of the case. That's how it was explained to me. So pretty much they gave him a chance, like, if you can wiggle your way out of this part, you might have a chance at this part, but there was no wiggling your way out of that first part. Like, he was done. Like, it's not just that you have it, the CSAM, like, you're the star of it, which is just crazy. Where's my phone? My daughter left and I ain't say goodbye. She mad at me because I ain't fed the dog.
Are two different things. And so prosecutors have to really assemble all this evidence in a way that they can present to a judge and or jury to convince them.
In the beginning, you had evidence of abuse. He was driving around with her dead and then dumped her in a field in the middle of nowhere. So you think you've heard it all. It cannot get any worse. And then you get the jail calls.
So I was not in my right mind after I found her.
All I know, Stephen, is when I look at a picture of you and I look into your eyes, I don't see a monster there. I don't see a bad person there. I see my son, who I love.
Were you expecting?
Deb, you can see your son who you love and realize that that child became a monster. I just don't understand it. I really don't. Like, you have to be able to look at your kids and be like, yo, you fucked up. They never did that on the phone calls. And I get not doing it because you don't want to hurt your case. But I'm not sticking by it. My adult child is accused of doing that stuff. And let me tell you, they were there in the beginning. They were like very descriptive as to what the videos were. Let me see. I'm going to let this play, see if I can find it.
The charges?
No.
The murder charge. Oh, so you got blindsided by that?
Yeah. Obviously, it's not true. I never would have wanted her gone for any reason. So, premeditated first degree is kind of a punch.
It almost sounds like you didn't know something had happened to her.
Well, I discovered her in the state that she was in, but no, I was not aware that she had passed on. I didn't discover what had happened until just around dawn.
Okay. Interesting.
Because I discovered that she was ice cold.
He tells the story to his parents on these jail calls, and all of a sudden was like, oh, I found her. What? Oh, so now you found her body. You didn't call 911? You didn't scream for help? None of that? Then he says, oh, we were upstairs in the bedroom. When you see the pictures, that door has a lock on it. It's like a house of horrors.
So Stearns has a lot on his plate. He's got 2 separate trials on the horizon, dozens of serious charges that he's facing, and he's got to say to himself, is there any chance I could beat this at trial, or should I just put an end to all of this right now?
What was surprising is he was a little bit defiant in the beginning, like, I don't know what happened to her, that I thought he may take this all the way to trial, but you could tell that reality was starting to sink in. He wasn't getting out of this.
Court has received 2 plea forms. Stearns, how do you plea to first-degree premeditated murder?
No contest.
And as to counts 1 through 8, capital sexual battery of Madeline Soto. Counts 9 through 13, sexual.
That's what I don't get either. Like, why they let him plead no contest? Like, they had him. They had him Court TV actually, there's mad videos on this. This is crazy. What's that? Months ago. I'm trying to find. Might have almost been like a year ago. I don't want to. Let me play this a little bit more.
Battery, counts 14 through 20, lewd or lascivious molestation. How do you plead?
Guilty.
There was direct evidence that Stephen Stearns killed Madeline. The fact that he had all the motive in the world here, this was a very strong case for the prosecution. I think they would have gotten the death penalty if they pursued it, but decided to cut a plea deal instead.
He knew that that evidence on his phone, that was it.
I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore.
Yeah.
I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around.
Yeah, this is the part that actually irritated me like a lot. Like they let him get the last word at court, and then he's saying stuff about I couldn't, it's hard to imagine a life without her. Bro, you did it. Like this let him feign like innocence a little bit. Like that's what I didn't like about his statement. Like this let him, like, let's say in some whatever way he got out of it, or like they for some reason they had to throw out that part of the case. The no contest part makes him like he can deny that he did it. Like he can just say, look, there was just so much evidence that it was going to be hard for me to defend myself, so I just pled no contest. Like he never has to say I did it. Which, like, what's the point of that? We just gotta get past. There's no way to find it. I think it was Court TV. I don't want to see your emails, you jerk. No, it was Court TV, I think. This looks like it's all Court TV. It was Vinny and I gotta learn how to look stuff up. Okay. Who is? Maybe it was this one. We'll mute it. I'll let this part play and you guys can listen to his.
Passing has torn me and my family apart as well. And she truly was a joy. And I apologize for all the pain.
But in this statement, he only seems to be sad for himself.
Truly was a joy. So gross. Gross man. Gross man. Yeah, like look right here. Like that these were the images, like a description of like some of the images. I'm not gonna read it, but there's that. You guys can like take a second and like read it if you're watching, or pause and read that. Um I thought this was messed up. Vinny wouldn't read it. So this guy was like the boots on the ground guy. So Vinny made him read it. I thought that was messed up. Let's play this. Hold on.
Just reading and seeing that.
So what's different in a case like this, the images themselves cannot be distributed. They can't be made public. That would be a violation of the law. So the best that can be done for the public to really understand is descriptions. Do they give any more specifics? And the reason I'm asking is we're never going to see these images, but I think it's important to understand what is actually depicted here.
Absolutely, Vinny. So I just read from that unredacted affidavit. Now, this is the case supplemental report also provided by police. And again, want to warn viewers that it gets way into more graphic detail in these descriptions of the images and video files. So we'll start with the first one here. It says description, video file depicting a prepubescent female resembling redacted, who we can rightfully assume is Madeline. That's her name because she was a minor, who would have been redacted months old. Madeline is laying next to Stephen in a bed watching cartoons on the television. Stephen is asking Madeline to put his penis in her mouth for 3 seconds as he counts. Stephen states Madeline would not be able to play with the phone unless she did it.
Yeah, and they didn't put, when this first came out and they dropped that he had those videos on the phone, they dropped that video. Someone put that video up, and then people were getting mad that the video was put up, but I think it was really to see how these people work and to see what it looks like. And then you can like, it's just then not her actually doing it, but him getting her to that point. Like the whole him asking or him saying, well, if you want that, you have to do this. They dropped that part. I remember seeing that part and being just like, yo, this is so like beyond disturbing that this type of person exists in the world, that he was clearly just left alone with her off rip. Like, I don't leave nobody with my kids. Like, to this, my mom never left me with nobody. I had one aunt house I could go over and two aunts house that I could go over, and that was it. Okay? Anybody else's house, I could not go over. And it was only because that house was close. And if my mom wanted to walk there real quick, she could get there real quick. And my other aunt was the aunt you do not F with. She's passed away. God bless her. But those were the only houses I could go over. And then she left me at that aunt's house for so long. She said I started calling her mommy, and that's when she had to come get me. But that's it. I ain't stay nowhere else. So to have like, I don't get women who start dating someone and this person is so new to them that they just leave their kid with them. Like I remember the first time I left, my daughter was going to hang out with one of her friends, and the friend didn't get, like, I had to go to work, so I had to drop her off and go to work, so I had to leave early. So Jalen had gotten dropped off at the house and the dad was there. And I looked at my daughter and I was like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? But at this point, I would have had to leave her so I didn't have time to take her back home and then go to work. I had to leave there and go straight to work. But when she went to hop in the car, dad said hey to me and he put her in the back seat. And then I was like, all right, he moves the way my dad moves, where he's not going to ride with some girl in the front seat of the car. He had her get in the back, which I was like, all right, the energy was right. But she was like, she had to be like a freshman in high school at this point, like past eighth grade for me to leave her there. But I'm just saying, like, the energy has to be right. I just don't see the energy in the apartment and in that house being right if stuff like that is going on in your house. I'll move it over a little bit so y'all can see. Like, I just don't see how the energy would be right if stuff like that is going on.
He still doesn't really explain what happened to Madeline or why he did what he did.
Just look at the language and just lay it out, and he doesn't really apologize until the end. What he didn't do is to really take ownership. All he's doing is giving lip service. He is telling the judge and everybody else what he's expected to say.
In the victim impact statements, we get to hear from Madeline Soto's relatives, the loved ones who had no idea, no reason to believe that Madeline was in any kind of danger under her own mother.
None of them liked him. Like, not one family member had anything good to say about Stefan. Like, the grandmother was like, he's just a bum. He don't work. He don't do nothing. Like, none of them liked him. And that's a bad sign. That if Wella, okay, my kids have a Wella. If grandma, Wella, and grandpa have a bad feeling, and this took me some time to learn, because my mom and dad did not have a good feeling about my kid's dad. Like, they were just like, what are you doing? And he ain't do no shit like this, but life was tumultuous. Pisces and a Leo, it was tumultuous. I'll just put it there. But if everyone around sees it and they're like, nah, this ain't good, why? Like, why? I'm sure they were all weirded out whenever he wasn't allowed in the grandmother's house. Like, they had a birthday party, he couldn't come. They said, nah, we're good. That's why he had to show up Sunday night after she got home. They didn't want him at the birthday party.
You and your presence, but that unfortunately was taken from us. I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today. I would give up my life if it meant having you here with us.
Madeline Soto was my daughter. She was happiness. She was a joy to be around. Because of the actions of this depraved man, I will never meet.
He used that term too. She was a joy. Maybe it's a normal term. I don't know. Weird. It's just weird to hear someone say it after Stefan says it. That's all. It's just weird. She was a joy. Weirdos. He is kind of a weirdo guy too, the dad. So quick backstory on the dad, which I don't think they get into here either. He was I guess he left to go to the military. And then he had his wife that he has now, where they were in the dating fiance phase. And he went and cheated on his now wife with Jen. And him and Jen were dating back when they were kids. And that's when Jen got pregnant with Maddie. Okay. But he's kind of a not. I don't want to say chump. The man lost his daughter, but he's kind of a. He didn't do what he could do as a father because he kind of left when she was born. He bounced on Jen and her, and then probably because of Jen's mental health issues, he couldn't really stay in the picture to take care of her. Um, it seemed like there was some. His new wife was not fucking around. You cheated on me, got this girl pregnant. You're not being left alone with her ever. Like on some that. Even when the police went to interview him, um, they're trying to like get the story from him, and he's just like, I didn't speak to her. I hugged her for 2.3 seconds and walked away, and I had nothing really to say to her. And the police had to be like, look, if you need to tell your wife to step out so we can talk, you can tell her to tell her to step out, because they did it over the phone. And it was it was just weird. Like the whole dynamic is weird. I would just say that as a mom, and I was a pretty like chill baby mama. But I would say, like, if you're dating someone that isn't like trying to help you be a better father for the kids that you already have, that you're not living with now, that are missing their dad, put her in her place and let her know, like, yo, that's my kid. This has nothing to do with you. I am with you, but I have to do what I got to do for my kid. Like he said that he would get time blind. I hate people younger than me. I just don't understand. I don't understand. He would have time blindness, and months would go by where he would forget to call his daughter. But when they did talk, they just picked up from where they left off. I bet they didn't actually talk. I bet they texted. And when you have a text thread, yeah, you can just pick up from where you left off, because the conversations do right there. Oh, we spoke 6 months ago. We were talking about this. Let's just pick it up. I bet they didn't even really talk. And I guess before Maddie had passed, which I bet if they did more investigating, this would have been the case. But he had mentioned in his victim impact statement that, and in his interview, that they had spoke with Maddie about when she turned 13, her having more of a say so in where she gets to live, and if she wanted to come live with him when she turned 13. And I can imagine Stefan not letting that happen. And maybe that's the catalyst for her demise. But yeah, he didn't make himself available enough for her to be somebody that he can go to. Like, he lived all the way in Texas, which isn't his fault. You end up where you end up. I mean, I'm not gonna move that far away from my kids, but when they're that young, but I don't know. And she low key looks just like him. Like, she started to look less like her mom and more like him as she became an adult. And I bet that probably played into the rift that was between Jen and Maddie. There was a little bit of a rift. They were trying to say that she was behavioral, but she really wasn't behavioral. It was all the stuff that Stefan was doing to her. Like, they had her thinking she needed to be on ADD meds, right? And that she was slow and forgetful and all of these things. But really, she was being abused and would probably be unable to fully sleep at night because of the abuse. Like, a lot of the abuse happened when everybody else was asleep. Some of it happened while Maddie was asleep. Um, they said Jen would be like pilled up, like knocked out on pills, and be asleep, letting. If she was asleep, she didn't know what was happening. But I don't see myself taking medication that puts me out when I got a kid in my house and an adult that doesn't go to sleep. Because Stefan would fake like he has insomnia, Boy, you ain't have no fucking insomnia. You just want to be up when everybody else is asleep so you can do diabolical stuff.
The woman she was becoming. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates.
This monster took advantage of her trust and her innocence. This parasite robbed us of every moment we could have had with Maddie. And our lives will never be the same.
As to first-degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to the capital sexual battery, for each count, you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Stearns was ultimately given an astounding 21 life sentences, and he will never see freedom on the outside ever again.
Whoa, I didn't know. Well, I guess you only got one life to live, but he about to live that shit 21 times in jail. That's crazy. I didn't know it was 21 life sentences. Yeah, he ain't ever getting out. All right. But that's for the images. Dang, I didn't know it was 21 life sentences. That's crazy. That's maybe my. I was mad at the no contest part, but I guess it don't matter because he's still guilty. He just doesn't have to admit his guilt. I don't know, but you're still. I guess he doesn't have to say what happened. Right? I don't know. Maybe somebody can explain it to me because I don't know.
Heart breaks for Madeline. This poor child did nothing wrong. She was taken advantage of, she was abused and ultimately killed by a predator. You know, our children are our most precious asset. And so it's crushing to think about what this child's last moments were like, what her life was like, the abuse that this guy normalized. And for every predator we take down in one of our investigations, it sends a message.
Ugh. Yeah, I'd have wore a beard too if that's what my mug looked like. Ugh.
To a guy like this, that you're not going to get away with it.
You wish that somebody would have seen a sign and that somebody would have stepped in earlier. It didn't happen one day. It happened for years.
There were signs, just people weren't paying it. Like they said, she had like graphic, like drawings in one of her notebooks. I bet on her phone she had journal entries. We will never see them, but I bet on her phone she had journal entries. She actually had I don't think that was her. I think maybe that was her mom's, but there was a notebook that had something about how when I see a man, it puts me in panic because it reminds me of my perpetrator. But I think Jen wrote that because it was in her notebook, but I don't know. In my mind, Jen wrote that because it makes sense because Jen was trying to figure out how to get her disability and she was writing out what she was going to say to get her disability. And she has a whole thing where she was attacked and that's why she has, um, what's it called? Not postpartum depression. She has, PTSD, from that. And that created her disability that for why she wasn't working for a while. She was trying to get disability. Yeah, let's keep going.
How did no one know? Why didn't anybody pay attention? The injustice of that is what we all struggle with and should struggle with, because we have to make sure that that's not acceptable, because bad things do happen. And it takes all of us to make sure that our children are taken care of and protected.
And then a thing with the school, if anyone from the school noticed something and didn't say anything, Florida will lock you up for knowing something's going on and not saying something. So it incentivized people at the school to keep their mouth shut. And then, like, in the backdrop of this, another teacher at her school was arrested for making little kids do stuff online. Like her choir teacher who's out here giving music lessons to kids by himself, like was like offering kids Roblox to do stuff on camera. Okay, and then he got caught and he's in jail right now. Like, and this was after her. And then another teacher at the after school program was arrested for, I think, the same thing, having images on his phone. Um, and they have no choice but to plead out, because if they take it to court, they get a death penalty. I think you get the death penalty for having that stuff on your phone. Um, but yeah, like there was so much. It's like this is the base story for all of these other things that went on around this story. This was the center part, but there were so many other little arms branching out. So it's really hard to tell the story and not tell everything else that's going on. Like there was even drama on, I guess, subreddit, where somebody that was running a subreddit for Maddie Soto was like taking, there was a pedo, a PDF who took over the Madeline Soto subreddit and was talking to the dad, um, Tyler Wallace, the dad, um, was saying he was in contact with him, telling people stories, writing poems from Maddie's point of view, like doing all of this stuff. And turns out the guy was like a pedo. Like, what else was there? Two adult roommates lived in the house. Um, one of them didn't speak like hardly any English. And she was like, I heard banging and stuff going on, but didn't think anything of it. Like he actually was putting his phone under the door and recording one of the roommates. Stefan was. And then I guess they're trying to say that they were on a break, but I think he just cheated. And he was talking to one of his coworkers at Disney, and he was actually dating her for a little bit. And he said that he had to go back. He told her the lies these men tell. He told his new girlfriend, yeah, I have to go back and stay with my ex at her house because her daughter won't sleep with anybody else, and I have to be there to put her to sleep and sleep in the bed with her so she can have human contact. And that bitch was like, what? Okay, and then that same woman also said that when she would go to have like relations or whatever with Stefan, that she had to like play dead or something. And then she said that when she tried to break up with Stefan, that I don't know if that's why he lost his job at Disney, but he was like harassing her at work when she was just like, I don't want to deal with you no more. And I don't know if he got fired for that or if they had to like switch departments or something like that. But that also was happening too. It's just a lot. Um, she did not deserve any of that. If I had to give a public service announcement, And it's weird. Like when I was in high school, we had like I was part of, and there was like a theater group that would go to all of the schools. And if kids were going through little situations like this, like reporting abuse, um, bullying, we would do like little skits about these situations. And I'm so like thankful that I got to do stuff like that. And that I first saw it when I was in like sixth grade and then became a part of the group through high school. And we would just go to all the schools in our town and just do little skits about situations like this, like situations about like a girl, somebody having to be like, "Oh, your dad." There was one where it was like your dad gave me a ride home and he touched me. There was one where it was like a kid getting bullied and coming to school with a pew pew. There was one where it was like um kids dealing with drug issues. Like there were stuff that kids, it was euphoria, but on stage, right? But not to the max that euphoria was, but it's like, do they do that to let these kids know that they have someone to talk to? Like you don't keep the secret. Um yeah, you don't have to keep the secret. If any kid, well, I don't know, I ain't no kid gonna see this because I have this set to like 18 and over. But I guess if you don't have, keeping the secret keeps the perpetrators in power. You actually have all of the power in this situation if you're dealing with an adult that is touching you and doing inappropriate things to you, because they only get to keep doing it if you don't say anything. And that's not me blaming, because they might be saying if you say something, your mom's going to lose everything, right? Like that's some shit boyfriends will say. Like if you say something, me and your mom are going to break up, you'll end up back in a shelter or some shit like that. Or me and your mom are going to break up and you guys will end up not living in this nice house. Or if you say something, you're going to get removed from the house. And it ultimately feels like you get punished when you say something. Because when you say something, they can't keep you in that house anymore. Either he has to leave, the perpetrator has to leave, male or female, or you have to leave. And if the parent that's not doing it ain't doing right, they have to pull you out so they can keep you safe. And that gives mom a chance to get her life right and take care of stuff for you. But don't be afraid of those things, right? Don't be afraid of having to leave the house or any of those things. None of those things are worth you going through any kind of abuse. Like you'll eventually end up with a roof over your head. Your mom will get her shit together unless she can't. And then if she can't, maybe you need to get pulled out. But don't let the threat of things help you keep his secret. Because he doesn't want anybody to know the stuff that he does. As much as he or she is trying to tell you this is normal and this is what people do, he don't want any of his people to know what he doing. They want you to not say anything. So I say, go to somebody, tell somebody. Don't just blurt it out. Like, don't go on Facebook and blast anybody. That's dangerous. Go to a teacher. If you have a teacher you could trust, go to the police. Like, you can go directly to the police resource officer at your school, and they have to do something about it. You might not go home. You might have to, there's things you're going to have to go through to get through it, but it's worth it because it'll end up messing you up trying to keep the secret forever, or the person goes crazy and harms you and you end up dead. So, yeah, you do not have to keep their secret. You actually have all of the power. Don't go blackmailing. Don't go trying to be like, if you don't give me this, I'm telling. Don't do that. I've seen cases where people end up transitioning to the other world because they do stuff like that. So don't do stuff like that. But you don't have to keep their secret. Okay, that shame does not belong to you. It is theirs, and you can let anybody know what's going on. All right, I'm end this because again, I've been talking for like an hour, and then your mouth gets dry and gross. So we're gonna stop this now. If you guys don't mind commenting, liking, watching for a few minutes, hitting a like and leaving a comment. I don't know if maybe you're bored and you're just gonna let this play. That's fine. Um, trying to get used to doing this. Why not, right? Not everybody else is doing it, so jump off that damn bridge, but take that leap of faith that you can create a following and build community through YouTube and learning experiences through kind of other people's tragedies, right? Yeah, so I'm gonna end this now. We're gonna go through the what not to post in this, but definitely please um like, comment. If there's a thing there that says subscribe. I don't know. Hit the notification, the little ding. Um, so if I post again, you guys can let me know what you think. Definitely let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you think of the sound. Um, I got this little divider closing me off to the world. I might have to find another spot in my room for this. So everybody could walk by and the kids don't have to feel like they're bothering me. And then I don't have to feel all shy when the kids walk by. But let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, share, hit the notification button. Please help me out. I got bills to pay. Let me show me some love, please. All right, guys. Bye.